which is in the last special session regarding the Medicaid budget fix.
Well, I will question it whether the last special session was about the Medicaid budget fix.
What do you think it was about?
I think it was about addressing the entire budget situation that we have, and Medicaid was just a portion of that. If you'll remember,
but the shortfall was in the Medicaid program.
No, I will not agree that that was the primary shortfall. There was $100 million shortfall there, but that $100 million that the federal government did not send us for the Medicaid program was sent to elementary and secondary education. They sent the same amount of money, the $238 million that we anticipated the federal government was going to spend. They sent it back to our state. They just earmarked it in a different way. $138 million or so to Medicaid and $100 million to elementary and secondary education, which about made up for the shortfall that was caused by the governor underestimating the average daily attendance and shortchanging the seat formula everywhere. So the other problems that we had is the governor failed to attain the savings that the budget was requesting to do in Medicaid. He failed to have recurring savings as far as reduction of contracts, as other efficiencies, and instead he again chose one-time savings such as the furloughs, such as selling a certain amount of state property, and debt restructuring to balance the budget. And those are not recurring savings. And that entire problem was there, and the governor tried to use the mantra of balancing Medicaid within the Medicaid budget by going into the second year and reducing the Medicaid appropriation to an amount that he knew was not attainable and would create a hole. He kicked the can down the road past the next election, and next January is when the problem is going to be.
We're getting into some budget nuts and bolts here.
Well, I mean, what do you want? You don't want detail?
Well, it was we're all about detail. We're all about context to see if the budget, you all in the legislature did assume that there would be, and you were left, with little choice after the governor's budget, as you mentioned, but you all did assume.
The governor assumed that too.
In the final version of the budget last year.
We're always talking about the final version of the budget.
That's right.
The budget the governor submitted to us in the special session last year assumed that $238 or $268 million was coming in, and we got all of that money, right?
Just not through Medicaid, which of course has that ripple effect because there's the match in it.
Well, and that's why we said that we need to do across-the-board cuts with 5 quarters left, rather than to wait till next year. What he did is he goes into next year and he reduces the Medicaid budget next year, and the money that he was going to use was carried over money that was going to balance next year's budget. So he reduces an appropriation to a level of savings that he knows he cannot attain. And I will tell you that, and then he goes around and threatens everybody in the state, says he's going to be 30 to 40% reductions in Medicaid reimbursement, and had everybody in a tizzy about it, when both the House and the Senate was in favor of providing the $168 million. It's just whether you want to pay for it or put the problem off to next year, and that was the difference in the two approaches.
But as part of your approach and as part of the Republican Senate approach, there was the inclusion of cuts to education in the second year
to everything
across the board.
To everything, and in the first year, as you kind of allude to, we didn't cut elementary and secondary education in the first year, and we didn't cut higher education in the first year because one of the problems we had in the first year was a maintenance of effort problem. When you take the ARA money, they can dictate maintenance of effort, and we had to transfer $19 million from the second year of the budget into this year in order to have the maintenance of effort. Now, that didn't get higher education any additional money. They had the same money, we just moved it from the second year to the first year. In the second year of the budget, we gave a break to elementary and secondary education because we realized that they were short a little bit in the second year because the governor's calculations on average daily attendance already accomplished about a 2% reduction in elementary and secondary education. So we didn't cut them quite as much. And we cut higher education the same as we cut every other agency across state government. And I will tell you, when we come back next year if we face the economic situation that most everyone knows that we're going to face, including the governor, if he was candid, if he was candid about it, then we're going to have 1 quarter left to come up with all this money, and these other state agencies do not have the money there. And so you're going to have to do clawbacks from higher education and elementary and secondary education. And earlier I spoke to superintendents who've already put the money away and know that's going to happen from their, what they call their Fund 1 money. So the only thing that we try to do is have truth in budgeting and make sure that we tell people that this is the circumstance that we're going to have next year. Now that was before $4 a gallon gasoline hit us, okay? And before the other inflation. You look at the inflationary situation that we face right now, and the cost in government expenditures could be a lot worse. And where are we going to get the money? So it's better to do an ounce of prevention than it is a pound of cure. And that was our approach.
You know, the good thing about all that detail, Senator, is I actually don't have to ask the rest of my questions.
I feel like Carmack,